So today's tutorial is a little bit of a twist. We did our mini flower rocks and everybody seemed to really love those, but some people had a hard time getting them kind of into that grid. So what we're going to do is use kind of the same concept of that silhouette style, but we're going to be stacking flowers. Now this one is on top. Remember, we were doing those faux alcohol ink rocks with the Posca glitter pens. So I did the design on top of that. Today though, I'm going to do it on more of a not flat surface rock. This is one of the hydro dipped rocks that I had done. So we're going to go ahead and do the design on this rock today. You can do this on flat rocks, round rocks, whatever you have. It would look really neat on top of pour paints as well. I always look for designs I can do on top of a fun base coat because I do a lot of fun different styles of base coats. So I'm going to be using my 1M Posca, and I actually finally invested in the 1MR Posca pens. And so I've got my black one here today. To me, it reminds me a lot of the Micron pens. It's got kind of that felt tip type. So if you use these, you want to be extra careful not to get any dust or anything into the tip of your pen. So make sure you're doodling off to the side when you are using these. So the first thing you need to do when you're doing this style of rock is just start laying out your flowers. Now, as you can see here, you can do different styles of flowers. You can make big ones, skinny ones, things like that. I also was working on a little one back here. And this one, they're all fairly similar. I like the different variations of flowers a bit more. You can play around with the size of your center of your flower as well, just to give them all different looks. Now this rock has, it has a crack in it and things like that. So if you have rocks that aren't 100% smooth, keep an eye out for that as you're laying out your design, just so that you don't give yourself a rough patch to get over. Hello Sandy, hello Phyllis. I'm glad you like these flowers. I am kind of obsessed with them. They're just kind of fun because they're almost like relaxing doodling, and I like to pour paint rocks, so this is something fun to do on top of those. So just start placing your flowers. Place where you want your top flowers first. You want at least one that's going to be completely on the surface, won't have anything overlapped. Obviously this will be the first one you lay down. So we're just gonna go ahead, and I always build my flowers kind of the same, kind of like a propeller first. And then you decide, are you gonna put 2 in between, 3 in between, and just kind of go from there. I like having some space on these designs between my petals, I found, because then you've got areas where that black is gonna fit in between. So we're just gonna go ahead and get these on here. See, I was trying to make sure I wouldn't get too much on that crack. See, there's a crack in my rock, so I will be careful around that. And then I'm going to do another large one over here. That one didn't even end up being that large. We'll make this one even bigger over here on this side. This one will be our main large flower. And then you can also decide if you want to add words on this design. As you can see on the one back here, I wrote BU. You have to plan ahead for your words, just like your first flowers, so that you can build your design around it. I'm gonna be extra careful on these bumps. If you're going over bumps, just keep a really light hand so you don't splatter. It's easier to go back in and fill in than to give a really hard hand. I might take my smaller tip and get in there. So for on this one, I think I might want to just add the letters like love down the side, or yeah, I really see I did love on another one somewhere. So when you're doing these letters, this might be the hardest part, doing letters. Love is actually a pretty easy word to do this way, just because the letters involved in it are pretty simple. I'm gonna have it going up and down on this, so I'm just gonna put my letters on. If you cannot block out letters like this, do it on a piece of paper first. Write your word, L, can you see right there? Yes, L, O, V, E, and then outline them. That will give you your shapes that you're transferring over to your rock. And I'm saying these letters are actually pretty easy because you can do lines. You don't have to go around each thing. So when you do your E, you'll see it's just the lines. You don't actually have to go around that indent. Let's see here, so L. Same with my O. I'm just gonna put a line in the middle of my O. And the V can be the same as long as you come to a nice enough point. They're gonna know it's a V and not a U. And then E. Like that. Okay, so now those will be incorporated into the design. Now we're just gonna start building the flowers to fill in the gaps. And you can decide how much negative space you want on your rock. So we'll start by adding a flower right here on the side of this love. And we can have the petals are gonna disappear behind. We want them to be stacking. And that's kind of what gives it a really fun look when we start filling in our black, is they'll be stacked. So I'm just gonna kind of work my way around here and add these. On here, and then I like to start filling in some of the negative space, and then you can decide if you want more flowers. Like if you get to an area and you think that's going to be a lot of black, then you can go in and add in another flower to it. Start by filling in anywhere where there's no petals. This is the patience part. So like right here, there's no petals. Make sure your ink is flowing well. And we're just gonna fill in all the center spots first, and then we'll work our way out to the edge. And it will really make these flowers pop. And the colors inside of them pop. Now this is in that rough spot. I'm gonna go back in with my 1MR in that area and try to get into some of those bumpy spaces with that. If you don't have a super fine tip, you could go in with a toothpick and a little bit of paint on the tip to get it down in the groove, because you'll see I'll go around this flower and it won't look very nice. Like right now it's not looking fantastic right there because there's just a crack that cuts right through one of the petals, and so it doesn't really have your full flower look. So I'm going to try first with my 1MR to get in there. And just to create that line. See, just that one little line brings that flower shape. And then there's the one up here in between those two petals. Just that little bit saves that flower. I'm going to kind of dab in some of these cracks here where I have this out. Okay. And then we'll go back to filling in the bigger spaces. There we go. I think I'm going to have this come out further to the side before I call it all said and done, but I won't make you watch me do that. So let me share with you the white. So that's basically done. That's it. So different sizes of flowers. You just stack them. So here's this one. I did do a little bit of shading kind of on, like to pop this one forward. I don't know that it's necessarily worth adding. I'll show this one I was doing. I haven't finished this one, but on kind of like blues. But here's the one that I was working on with white. It looks really pretty, and I don't know if you can see, I started doing a second layer on parts of it, but see, you can see through the white. So it will be a process to get it nice and bright to get that contrast. It does look pretty though, so if you have the patience to do your design multiple times, I kind of started here working on another layer of it. So if you have the patience for multiple layers on something like this, you can try to do white or other colors as well. Everybody have a wonderful day. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.